One NBA trade target is floating around like crazy, and I've put together the ultimate mock trade that would leap the Sixers into title contention. The question is, could they actually pull it off?
Perfect.
What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into Philly Take with RB. You know the drill by now. Hit the like button if you enjoy this content. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of the videos. We've been dropping a lot of videos. We go live every single game, and we are going to be dropping a lot more content as the trade deadline approaches, which honestly is only about a month and a half away. So we have a lot of rumors to discuss. And last night I posed a question out there to the chat during our live stream. What is the Sixers' top trade need, right? We've talked about certain players and we'll continue to do that, but what's the one area you're looking at this team to improve on, to upgrade? Like, okay, they absolutely need that right now at this trade deadline. I would love to hear the feedback from the Sixer Nation out there, because I've put together a mock trade, which I'll show you later on here, that I think is really good. But, you know, it all depends on how the team progresses and what their ultimate needs are. So we'll talk about all that and more. But before I give you my thoughts, let me give a shout out to our sponsor here of today's video, BetterHelp. I know a lot of people out there listening have gone through mental health issues or experiences, and BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy service. So, you know, they've helped people like me before, where I've gone through some tough situations. I wasn't feeling well, and, you know, I wish I could have had more time and accessibility with an outlet like this. A lot of people are always, you know, too afraid, and they don't want to put their issues out there. They don't know where to find that comfort, but BetterHelp makes therapy more affordable because it makes finding a therapist so much easier. It's online, it's remote. All you have to do is do a couple clicks, answer a few questions, and boom, BetterHelp is going to match you with a therapist within a few days. Then you can talk to that therapist via text, chat, phone call, video call at any time. You can message them, and they will be there for you. And if they are not the right fit for any reason, they will switch you to a brand new therapist for free without having to stress about all the extra things, the insurance, things like that. So it's never a bad thing to reach out, and I encourage anybody who needs help or knows someone who needs help to reach out. And if you are struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month by clicking the link down in the description. Use my link, betterhelp.com/PhillyTake. All right, let's jump into it. So I think the perfect trade target for the Philadelphia 76ers, for a lot of teams, to be honest, but this guy, I'm telling you, there's no more seamless fit than Lauri Markkanen, okay? Let's look at the Utah Jazz, because right now, this was a team who started off really hot last year, and they were expected to keep it going. They ended up falling back to reality last year, and they said, okay, now with another year of experience, here we go. This team is going to make some big moves. Well, guess what? They're 12th right now in the West. They are 13-18. And they're not playing good ball. Again, they look like they're about to have another tank of a season. So what does that mean? Does Danny Ainge want to end up going to pay Lauri Markkanen? Let's think about his contract for a second. He has one more year left on his deal, partially guaranteed. He is 26 years old, playing some of the best ball of his career. He might be an all-star. He should be an all-star. And Danny Ainge has a big decision. Do I want to pay Lauri Markkanen? And do I want to essentially wait a couple years and see if we can build a big team and a contender? Or do I want to trade him, get some assets, right? Maybe have more money on the books, and maybe try to go draft a couple Lauri Markkanen so that we can really compete in a couple years. That's what Danny Ainge is thinking. And you know he loves his draft picks, right? The Mitchell deal, the Gobert deal. They have a lot of future assets. So you look at the Utah Jazz. If they don't end up playing better, they should, hypothetically, try to go sell some assets. But the question is, will they move Lauri Markkanen? Now, this came out a few days ago, and it was an article on, where is this from? SB Nation, I believe, and essentially all the NBA insiders, the podcasters, were talking about the Utah Jazz because they have heated up as one of the top NBA trade teams this deadline, and they say that the Jazz are high on Lauri Markkanen. And there will be a team or two or three that will try to see if Utah can listen to a trade. But the initial rumors are that Lauri Markkanen is not going to get traded unless Danny Ainge gets 5 first-round picks. I'm here to tell you that will not happen. If any team gives up 5 first-round picks, they are insane. You saw what happened with the Gobert deal. Even though the T-Wolves are playing better, I still don't think that was a good trade by any means. And this is just how trade negotiations start, right? So, eventually they'll come down a little bit if they do want to move them. And then we get this today. Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype. This was an article on Sports Illustrated talking about Michael Scotto. He says that Markkanen wants to remain in Utah and that he wants to stay, and the price tag is too high with looming free agency, and he can renegotiate and extend his contract. But what is not mentioned here is that there's a lot of time between now and the deadline. Danny Ainge is ruthless, right? Mitchell wanted to run it back with Gobert, and he almost agreed to do it, and then he just traded him. So this is just how business works. Guys get traded. It's all about the interest of the team. And at the end of the day, even if Markkanen wants to stay, maybe Danny Ainge doesn't want to pull out the checkbook. So just keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of rumors floating back and forth. That's just what's out there so far. However, I went ahead and put together a trade that I think would be great, honestly, for what the Utah Jazz need. Now, my one concern and one reason other than this, that I don't think this may happen is because the Utah Jazz usually like to get young players back in these type of trades, more so Danny Ainge, right? He goes and trades Mitchell. What's he get back, right? The Markkanens, the Colin Sextons, right? He trades Gobert. In addition to all the picks, he gets a ton of players. So he might want to get back some young guys with promise, but maybe, just maybe, when you look at the Sixers situation and the fact they finally have some draft assets to move after the James Harden trade, Danny Ainge may want to go rack up some more draft picks and clear cap space, and that's where a trade partner like the Sixers could come in. So here's the mock trade that I put together. In my mock trade, I have the Sixers receiving Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, yes, I know, just wait, a 2028 first in a pick swap and a 2029 second in a pick swap. The Jazz get Tobias Harris and the expiring salary. They get Jaden Springer. They get 4 first-round picks. Keep in mind, one of them's a pick swap, and a second-round pick, which is a pick swap. So essentially, the Jazz would get Tobias Harris, Jaden Springer, 3 first, and 2 pick swaps. I don't think this is crazy by any means. Now, if you want to take Clarkson out and maybe replace him with an Olynyk, sure. But where Jordan Clarkson is at is he has 2 more years on his contract, and if the Jazz do want to finally do a full rebuild, maybe they don't want to pay Jordan Clarkson $18 million or $17 or whatever it is over the next couple years. Maybe they want to get rid of that contract as well, and they don't have to pay Lauri Markkanen. Now, you're probably looking at this like, whoa, why would the Jazz take this? Well, here's why. They get Tobias Harris, and they essentially clear $40 million in cap space right after this year. They get Jaden Springer, who's a young, promising player, not getting a lot of minutes on the Sixers, who is a former first-round pick, guys that Danny Ainge would like to bank on and take a chance with. And like I said, they get a ton of draft picks in addition to what they already have. Another team may be able to beat the Sixers offer with other young, promising players and guys like that, but it all depends on where the Jazz are at. And right now, I just don't think they can compete given the roster that they have. So I think this would be a good trade. And maybe some people are looking at me like, oh, this is too much for the Sixers to give up. No, it's not. No, it's not. And whether Clarkson is in or out of this deal, I've wanted him for years. I have been doing a lot of, research and just like watching a lot and just going through a lot with Lauri Markkanen. He is the absolute perfect fit for this Sixers team. Let me tell you why. And yes, I would absolutely 1000% trade Tobias Harris. Even if the Sixers continue to win, if they continue to play the way they are, I would move Tobias Harris, because if you've been in the live streams all year, if you've been watching these videos, I've talked about a guy with the prototype of Lauri Markkanen for so long. He is the exact build that needs to play, that has needed to play next to Joel Embiid on this team for many years. Sixers have better fits. Finally, they have athletic guards and wings and guys that fit, but they need that 4 next to him that can rebound, that can shoot, that can play better defense. No offense to Tobias. Sure, he has good stretches, but he's not consistent enough. And for the price point, I think Lauri Markkanen, even if you had to extend him, I would look into that. He's 26. He's playing the best ball of his career. He's almost a little bit of a unicorn. He does a little of everything. Let's take a look at his stats. Lauri Markkanen is averaging 24 points per game on the Utah Jazz. He's played every single game. He's averaging almost 9 rebounds, which is a career high per game. And he's averaging 0.7 blocks per game, only 2 fouls. And he is shooting 39+% from 3. He's always been a sniper. And when you watch his game, he can do a little bit of everything. He could run some alternate pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey, but he's an absolute threat to pop out to the 3-point line, because think about it. if you're a defender, do you want to stay with Tyrese Maxey, who has deeply improved his finishing ability, or do you want to have to guard Lauri Markkanen and push out? It's almost death either way. Like, both of them are going to be lethal offensive threats. Joel Embiid finally gets the guy next to him that can go clean the glass. No offense to Tobias, but Lauri Markkanen is much better as a big. He's a stretch big, but he also can play in the low post, the high post. He can rebound next to Joel. He could even play some 5 if needed. Not going to say he's an elite defender by any means, but he's definitely improved. He's definitely more athletic. He can stretch out, get to the perimeter. He's longer in terms of a wingspan, and he just can do a lot more. They called him essentially a unicorn coming out of college, almost in the similar comparison to Kristaps Porzingis, and it's kind of weird how those two have both blossomed later in their career. But at the end of the day, sure, Jordan Clarkson would be great. You know, I've always said that as a microwave scorer off the bench. If they don't want to throw him in this deal, fine. I would give up a lot. I wouldn't give up 5 first, but I would give up a lot to get Lauri Markkanen, and I would extend him because I think he's playing the best ball of his career. He's finally comfortable, and he is the exact type of player that the Sixers need on this team next to Joel Embiid. I don't know how you stop Maxey, Markkanen, and Embiid. I really don't. You could do so much, get so creative with that offense, and I don't think Markkanen would have a problem fitting in at all. So those are my thoughts. Get Lauri Markkanen to Philadelphia. May not happen. They may not decide to part with him at all. But if there's an opportunity, if Danny Ainge decides to sell on this season, the Sixers should do everything possible to get Lauri Markkanen in a Sixers jersey. He should be the top trade target, and that's how I feel at this moment. So give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.